Before boarding the plane, the man suddenly noticed some eerie things happening. The flight he was taking was Flight 1015. Today was October 15th, and the plane's departure time had been delayed from 9:30 to 10:15. These coincidences gave him an ominous feeling, but looking around, he didn't see anything unusual. He asked the captain if today's flight would go smoothly. Although the captain smiled at him, he could detect something strangely unsettling in the captain's expression. Inside the cabin, a stranger greeted him. He politely responded to the man. As the flight attendant began the safety briefing, the plane was about to take off. He suddenly discovered an MP3 player in the seat pocket in front of him. It was currently playing a mysterious story about Flight 1015. Out of curiosity, he put on the headphones. The story being described matched exactly what was happening in the cabin at that moment. It said the passengers had fastened their seatbelts, and the flight attendant was indeed doing the safety demonstration. It also said it was raining outside. He immediately opened the window shade to check. Sure enough, there was a heavy downpour outside. Everything seemed to be predicted by the MP3. Then the man on the MP3 said that in 1 hour, this plane would completely disappear from radar. He thought it was just a prank and that it couldn't possibly be true. But suddenly the plane hit some turbulence. One coincidence after another made him feel very uneasy. Then the MP3 began discussing the mystery of the plane crash. First, it mentioned a captain named Donna. Hearing the name, he immediately paused the playback. Just then, the captain happened to use the intercom and stated his name. He put the headphones back on. The MP3 mentioned that a flock of birds would hit the plane at 10:21. When the time reached 10:21, there was suddenly a violent impact sound. He was so startled that he immediately jumped up from his seat. He frantically threw off the headphones as fear overwhelmed his mind. He immediately ran into the bathroom, trying to calm himself down. But when he came out again, all the passengers seemed oblivious to any impact. To verify the facts, he called over a flight attendant. He asked if any birds had hit the engine. But the attendant explained that at their current altitude, there wouldn't be any birds. He wanted to confirm further with the captain. The attendant warned him not to mislead other passengers and cause panic. He looked out the window and began to wonder if he was being overly sensitive. But just as the attendant left, the stranger who had greeted him suddenly sat down behind him. The man said he was absolutely certain that birds had just hit the plane. He introduced himself as a former pilot who had once worked with the current captain. This flight route often encountered such problems, but the crew usually didn't inform passengers about these situations. Getting this answer, Justin became even more convinced of the MP3's predictions. He put the headphones back on. This time the MP3 mentioned crucial information. The plane would disappear into thin air at 11:15. It was already 10:31. He had to hurry to find a way to prevent the disaster. Then the MP3 provided him with a clue. There were 2 gang members being transported on this plane. It was very likely that their presence was causing the accident to happen. He immediately got up to search and sure enough, found 2 passengers dressed like gangsters.